Welcome back for another video. Well, what an underwhelming game week it was before the break. 46 points all out and no rank movement up or down. I missed all the action as well on Saturday's games because I was at a wedding. So I missed Bruno's late goal, I missed Sanchez keeping the clean sheet after that controversial King goal ruled out. But on Sunday I was still buzzing for the games ahead because I had Reinders, Murillo, I had Salah, Gakpo, Rodgers, Gyökeres, Watkins all to play. And not a single one of the 7 players returned on the Sunday. It's really just when those highly owned assets return that I don't own that it becomes a killer. You know, like João Pedro in particular scoring, Haaland scoring, Van Dijk's clean sheet. But yeah, the major positive was Bruno captain for that 20-pointer. I'm quite looking forward to this game week for a number of reasons though. The big decision for me is whether to cut the losses with Rodgers and Watkins and sell them, or just keep hold for another game week or two. First of all, let's have a look at how some of you got on, the best and worst scores. Talk FPL says, I don't like going into an international break after this. He got 35 points all out on a red arrow. Captain Wood, who was really a popular captain, and he blanked against West Ham of course. 6 other blanks in this team, or 7 blanks if we don't count defensive contributions. What are we saying on DCs? Is getting no returns besides Defcons considered a blank? Anyway, sorry Talk FPL, next one is Baffa who got 2.5 times your score and said it was a great week for me. 90 points all out he got. Absolutely everything came off basically. He had Goodmanson's clean sheet and bonus, Juve's clean sheet and assist. He got returns from Sarr, Bruno, Dewsbury Hall's 12-pointer, Haaland captain, João Pedro. Crazy score. John finished on 23 points all out. Absolute killer here. Not a single return from all 11 players in John's team. I mean, FPL is a numbers game, and when there's over 11 million managers, there's always going to be someone out there that's got 11 out of 11 returns in their team, and there's going to be someone out there with no returns from 11. And it's not even a bad team whatsoever, honestly. You should bounce back in Game Week 4. Let's do a couple more. Leslie says, no need to open these wounds, but here you go. 19 points left on my bench. Dewsbury Hall, the main culprit there, with a 12-pointer. However, Dangle, on the other hand, activated the bench boost, a really similar bench actually, and caught the Dewsbury Hall 12-pointer plus Rodon's returns for an 86-point game week with a 22-point bench boost. Very nice. And Dangle said up to 197k overall already. Thanks for sending in everyone. Let's get into the team and transfer plans for Game Week 4. Scout have been really busy revamping the members tools. My go-to personally is the data tables. Like when I pull out these random stats in my videos, they come from my data tables, which you can access as well by searching my name in the members tables. The fixture ticker tool has been reworked, it's fully customizable. Game Week Highlights is a brand new page they've added which gives you a really nice high level overview of the game weeks. Stuff like XGI, defensive contributions and so on. Player comparison breaks it down at a really granular level. Under player stats, they've got all the defensive contribution data as well now. How many players have got it, how often they hit the threshold and stuff like that. All that and more, and a 40% discount with the link below in the description. And on top of that, they've given me a code as well. FFS Focal 5 gets you an extra 5% off on top of that. So click the link below to take advantage, and thank you Scout for their support. So in goal, Sanchez has got Brentford away next. He's been a pretty good pick so far, with 2 clean sheets and 3, but we'll ignore the fact it should really be 1 and 3. I'm still working out what to make of Brentford. Obviously loads of changes in personnel and new manager. They got that win against Villa in Game Week 2 which was really impressive, but then to follow that up losing to Sunderland is pretty shocking. Chelsea's 2.4 expected goals conceded ranks 3rd best after the opening 3 game weeks among all teams. In defence it's Anderson, Pedro Porro and Romero. My defence feels a bit weak this week given I've got no Liverpool, no Arsenal, no Newcastle coverage who top the clean sheet odds. They're all tied on 44% of a clean sheet, and Palace as well. I've got no Palace defence, they're on 42%. That said, Fulham home to Leeds looks like a really good fixture for Anderson on paper, so let's see. West Ham looking a bit unpredictable themselves like Brentford really. 8 goals conceded from the opening 2 games, and then that 3-0 win over Forest before the break, forcing us to readjust a bit. In hindsight, diversifying with Lacroix over Romero would have been smart. He's done really well. I think he's on 22 points, Lacroix, and he's done well for defensive contributions. And of course, Palace are home to Sunderland this week as well. I am looking to pivot one of my defenders to Gabriel in Game Week 7, but realistically it's probably not going to be a Spurs defender that would make way. Murillo's the obvious one to sell after his good fixtures run out. I don't suppose they're going to be anywhere near as solid under Ange than they were under Nuno either. So in midfield it's Salah, Gakpo, Bruno, Rodgers and Reinders. We discussed Gakpo a bit in a Team Talk video, and I really like him as a relatively shorter term pick, with that potential to still be a longer term pick depending on who Isak displaces eventually. It could be Ekitike, it could be Gakpo, it could be, they share the minutes on the bench. Burnley's such a great fixture, and although the Gameweek 3 blank sucked from an overall score, when you buy players it's for more than just one game week, and I'm pleased to be doubled up in Liverpool attack this week. And then obviously it's the Merseyside derby in Gameweek 5 as well, which is at Anfield, which also looks fantastic. So it's Salah captain this week despite a pretty underwhelming opening 3 game weeks by his high standards. I do think it could potentially be a mistake to try and get clever this week if you've got him and you're looking elsewhere for captaincy. And Burnley conceded 3 to Spurs, 3 to Man United. There's no reason why they don't concede 3, maybe more to Liverpool. I was taking a really good look at the 7 mil and under midfielders for potential Rodgers replacements. I've been really unimpressed by him. 0.35 XGI after 3 game weeks. That ranks 118th in the league. 118th. That places him just behind Lerma, Van Heck and Onyeka. Sarr was the one, and now he's potentially out injured after Game Week 3, so I'm just wondering whether rolling is now the best option for me. There are alternatives like Enzo, Grealish and Ndiaye. They're not bad this week, but are they worth a free transfer when I could potentially unlock something better by being patient? Or do I just sell Watkins and keep Rodgers? Reinders versus Bruno in midfield for the Manchester derby. After that sensational Game Week 1, it has simmered down for Reinders. Though we've got Cherki out injured for like 6 weeks. We've got Marmoush, he's picked up a potential knee injury on international duty. Kovacic has been injured, just returning soon. So in theory, he's still a great pick if his minutes stay good for only 5.5 mil on such a great team. I mean, it's not like he's eaten up much budget either, and I'm personally way more patient with FPL assets that are blank and that are also cheap. It's the likes of, Rodgers and Watkins that are becoming problems. So on that note, up top it's Gyökeres and Watkins. So yeah, Gyökeres first of all. Given Nuno has left Forest now just after 3 game weeks into the season, and Ange coming in with no pre-season and no chance to work with the squad just yet really, I'm quite pleased to have Gyökeres, who I honestly think still could do well despite his reputation on social media seemingly. I mean, you've got to put what you read to one side sometimes and form your own opinions, and I know there's lots of times that you watch videos and you might disagree with something I'm saying. Like, that's perfectly fine. We have to form our own opinions in FPL, and that can be the edge for you. So yeah, I still think he's a great pick anyway. Maybe in hindsight I should have gone to someone like João Pedro first, but I'm trying to get ahead of the template. Aina's also picked up a potential hamstring injury which won't have done Forest any favours. I mean, maybe Williams goes into right wing back, I'm not sure. Zinchenko obviously ineligible to play against Arsenal, so he's not an option either. I can't imagine the players are at all happy about the situation, especially since, he took Forest to Europe for the first time in 30 years, and with 3 games into the season, it's a major shake-up. Watkins did win a penalty for England over the break after coming off the bench, which Rashford scored, and he did net in that match as well earlier, but it was offside. I think he just needs that goal to really get going, and I'd still love to hold him, but seriously need a return from Watkins soon. I've really been going back on the fourth and selling Watkins or just holding on to him. Let's do the bench and then I'll walk through where I'm at with transfer plans. I mentioned Rodgers was 118th for XGI currently. Watkins has got 1.24 XGI, which ranks him 22nd, so he has at least looked close to getting points a couple of times. So the bench is Dubravka, Murillo, Esteve and Gue. Kind of picks itself this week, obviously. Now that Gue's been recalled, it's a bit awkward actually. One move that I really like is Watkins to João Pedro, but then I'm tripled up in Chelsea. Delap is out until late November, so we might not see him for about 10 game weeks, which is a lifetime in FPL. Though I'd still expect João Pedro's minutes to be managed. He's definitely not going to suddenly play 90 minutes every game. They've got Champions League coming up as well shortly, and I think they play Bayern first, so it's a lot of football. If I buy João Pedro, then at least don't have to hide behind the sofa whenever Chelsea play. At 64%, he's by far the most owned player in the game currently. And I genuinely don't blame anyone for buying him for that reason alone. Like, it's a game and it's meant to be fun, and there's absolutely nothing fun about not owning João Pedro if he goes on to haul and kills your rank. The other option is to buy Mateta and potentially commit to a Gameweek 6 wildcard, so I can move Mateta back on and get Haaland in, Salah out and so on. Mateta's got Sunderland home, then he's got West Ham away, so it's really nice fixtures in back-to-back succession. But possibly no Sarr and of course no Eze, so will their attack suffer? Which leads me to where I'm currently out of my team. Now, transfers are king in FPL and flexibility really opens up the options, and I've noticed a potential path in Gameweek 6 that would be really strong, but it does require 2 more weeks of rolling. So I'll pull my team up on Plan FPL here. Gameweek 5 looks perfectly fine here. Gameweek 6, the potential transfers would be Watkins to Haaland, Salah to Palmer, and a Gakpo to Ndai, or any other midfielder for 6.8 million under. Everton have got West Ham home and Palace home in a row, so he's an option. As is Grealish, but he can't play in Gameweek 8 against Man City. I could also drop down to someone like Anderson or any midfielder that's 5.5 mil, which does leave the money to go Murillo to Gabriel in Gameweek 7 when Arsenal's fixtures swing. And maybe all those moves wouldn't place me too far from wildcarders. So after weighing up everything, the plan is to roll this week. I mean, obviously plans change all the time in FPL, so if I was to roll, I might end up doing something else in Gameweek 5 or 6 after rolling, but you can see the potential that those moves have got. Like, lots of people are looking to swap Salah to Haaland in Gameweek 6 because Man City have got Burnley home, then they've got Brentford away, and then Everton home, so 3 amazing games in a row. But lots of people can't do it by also buying a second premium back in Palmer. So yeah, there is that path there where I could move back to having 2 premiums of Palmer, who I still think is an excellent FPL pick. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. Hit subscribe for more FPL content to come before the deadline. See you soon for the next one.